them a lot to get opportunities of job. So after having this human resource units, I helped a lot of students to get their training in the university and to cope with training and their studies from one perspective. From another, at the end of the year, to meet all companies that we can convince them to come, and there were approximately around 30 companies coming every year in the job fair. So this, experiences helped a lot students to get more opportunities of job.
I think a lot of effort was put in this.
Of course. But actually, this is the most.
Do you see these efforts were paid off?
Of course. To me, when till now, I can get telephone calls from Arab countries, European countries of my students that I help them to get opportunity. This is the reward from my point of view, because when you help somebody, regardless any type of
those are the glamorous moments of
yes,
success.
of course. For me, this it gives me happiness, unbelievable.
That takes me to ask you about picking some moments in your life you consider were moments of success.
Actually, moments of success in succeeding in having opportunities of job, and at the same time, besides for human resource units, since as economist, I am convinced that whenever you can get graduate skills, with every year more than 800,000 entrants to labor market, you cannot find opportunities for all of these students. So SMEs or small and medium enterprise can open for them horizons for opportunities of job. This is self-employment. So from this perspective, I helped a lot of my students to improve their awareness about starting up, being entrepreneurs. And this was very tough for me because
that's a very special part of your career.
Yes.
Promoting small and medium enterprises.
Yes. That's why from this time I started to promote SMEs, because I believe that without enhancing the role of SMEs in Egypt, we cannot promote those opportunities of job for the large entrance into the labor market. Despite, we can talk about increasing investment rate. This is a prerequisite to absorb more employment. This is important, but at the same time, you have to create self-employment, because in Egypt you have a very big problem, which is that the number of entrepreneurs in Egypt is very small, it's quite small. So you need to enlarge this.
When did you start working on this?
From the 1990s. From the 1990s, till now. I'm taking, all what I can do to enhance the role of SMEs. Training packages, consultation, lobbying for decision making, even discussing legislatives that can help, even making training packages for those institutions on a strategic point of view. All what I can do to enhance the role of SMEs.
You're focusing on developing this sport.
Yes.
You consider that it can play a significant role in developing the future of our youth.
It could be an engine of growth for Egypt, because if you have the right strategy for it, and to be implemented, and to have a father for small business, because in Egypt the problem is that you are going to find thousands of institutions working for the benefit of SMEs.
How fruitful were your efforts up to now?
Actually, not as I am dreaming about. Because as you see, you can find the results.
Usually we dream big, but sometimes you're taking.
Yes, but the case for Egypt, the case of Egypt is completely, letting you feeling very sad because the problem for Egypt is that
But
you have
the
a
term,
lot
it
of
wasn't
potential.
introduced before in the Egyptian society. Nowadays, you can see it everywhere. Small business,
Yes, yes,
especially.
but it's not on reality, which means that from my point of view, when you know, the prospects, beneficiaries can reach more opportunities of job through small business, this is what counts at the end, which means that when you monitor what you are doing, starting from a macro level to meso to micro level, you have to work on the 3 levels. And you have a lot of you know, initiatives working, but at the end you should ask yourself, how many opportunities of job have been generated for the beneficiaries? You are going to find that still it's minimal compared to the potentialities of having that.
The term has been introduced to the Egyptian society for the,
Yes,
during
yes,
the last
yes,
years.
of course.
It wasn't there before.
Yes, yes, it wasn't before,
You've done
and yes, and the thing that what matters that the platform is quite ready, which means that if you want, you have a political willingness to do it, immediately you can make a progress.
All governmental.
You need a maestro. I'm always saying that all actions that are taken to help for SMEs, they are dispersed without a maestro. You need a maestro to gather all these efforts for the benefit of beneficiaries.
Now we'll talk about your efforts in promoting women and women empowerment in Egypt. I think you have a lot to say to us.
Yes. Actually, my efforts for that started at the end of 1994 when I had a training package.
You conducted a special study, I think it's entitled Role of Women in Development.
Of course. A lot of studies and consultation and training packages, but the beginning was when I had studied, you know, the package of gender.
Yes.
And it was in London College. And from this time we formed a group of specialists in gender issues. And for Egypt, it was the beginning to, you know, have this package in Arabic language. And when you make this translation into Arabic language, it's not the meaning of just the meaning of translation, which means that you are not translating word by word only, but you are trying to make the type of adaptation that can cope with our culture, our tradition. And this is the most important part of this story, which means that when you have you know, training package that is a Western package, and it is a scientific method that now taught in most universities abroad, but when you start to adapt it for your case, you should notice the difference in culture and tradition, and this is quite important. This is what we have done as a group of experts. And we had a training package. We applied this training package in different ministries because, like SMEs, gender issues should be mainstreamed, starting from the budget and the plan for economic development. When you would like to have the role of women, you should start by mainstreaming your plan, your national plan.
as we're trying to talk about a moment of success, we'd like to put some numbers to see how these efforts were paid off right now, since the point that you started working for microfinance and now.
Actually, we've done a lot regarding, as I mentioned, the platform for microfinance, which means that I've participated in a strategy for microfinance done by several ministries. And the issue is how to put it into implementation. Here there are several challenges affecting that. And from this perspective, I put in the strategy a very important component, which is how to build a system of monitoring and evaluation so that you can be sure about having implementation results. This is what we are looking forward. We need to see results on the ground. From this perspective, I have followed several studies for monitoring activities, but at the end, I'm not an implementer, which means I am a consultant, I am a professional. I can all the time mention what is needed to be done in order to improve the situation. But at the end, you are going to face institutional problems, institutional challenges about the capabilities of institutions to implement successfully these strategies. There are still several problems affecting our institutional capacity building to implement those strategies. But if we have, I'm always saying, if we have political willingness, you are going to improve this operationalization and institutionalization in order to make significant progress so that we can reach some significant results. But we cannot ignore efforts, and we cannot ignore that there are, like you mentioned, success stories. But I am going to say all the time that these success stories unfortunately cannot cope with what should be done.
If we talk about the Women National Council, you've been working there for
as a consultant. I haven't been a member in National Council of Women, but I worked as a consultant for the council, yes.
If you want to put some information about what you've achieved there.
Actually, for National Council of Women, I've done several things. I've participated in the strategy of economic empowerment of women through putting the strategy for enhancing the role of women in SMEs. And at the same time, we have another strategy in order to improve the role of women in generating GDP, because you know, and I had a study.
SMEs is small and medium enterprise.
Small and medium enterprise. I had a study regarding how to calculate GDP, taking into consideration the role of women, because you have unpaid women working in the agriculture sector. And this, if you can put what we can call shadow value of these women, they don't get, remuneration, they don't get salaries or wages for this work. So if you put, as economists, we have an approach to put, to calculate this value. So I had a study that mentioned that incorporating the role of women may increase to a large extent GDP growth, which means that the main message behind this study is for policymakers to address issues of women and to put the role of women or the gender issues on top of decision making.
At that point, we stop now and we'll continue your success story next time.